Hey everybody, this is Moo Reaper with another game review. Today we're looking at Tavern Keeper, developed by Greenheart Games, set to release in Q3 of 2024. It markets itself as a business simulation, and I got a chance to play the demo here after joining their content creator program, and I wanted to show off some of the features to try to help you determine whether or not you want to play the game. It definitely looks cozy. The controls, the tutorial, very intuitive, backed up by wonderful narration and voice acting. The game demo opened up with a tavern kind of already in motion, so you could very easily understand what was going on, kind of drip feed style, so that you weren't overwhelmed by having to manage it yourself. And so, yeah, you can see a very minimalist UI. However, it's also very kind of cute and stylized. And very basic. You know, your vantage point is always on what's going on in your tavern, and the UI is kind of a wrapper around that, right? And it's not too intrusive. You've got some tracker for your objectives. It's very easy to drag around the camera, rotate it. These controls will be very similar to games like RimWorld and Dwarf Fortress, and some other tavern sims that you might find on Steam with the rotating and the panning and the zooming. So one of the problems I sometimes have with games like this is it feels like the camera doesn't really give you the full picture. It kind of locks you into a certain perspective. I didn't get that feeling here with Tavern Keeper, and it feels very expansive in that way. So the gameplay loop is very simple. You're running a tavern. You're a business owner. It is up to you to manage a business, a profitable business that stays afloat. You have customers that have tastes. You have employees that you have to keep happy and pay and maintain, that have pluses and minuses. Everybody's good at something. Some people are not good at certain things. As you're conducting the business of your tavern, you'll have patrons come in and they have tastes and they want certain types of beer. They may also have some information for you. Some may even offer to hook you up with a new employee that has a better skill set than your current workforce. And so this is, I think, that other arm of the game. While it's also a business simulation, it's got this kind of story-rich narrative that does a lot of the world building. And so you do meet characters, and they have names and they have backstories, and it's really well done. The UI is really well done. All of this text on the screen is narrated by wonderful, consistent voice acting. Can't say enough how crisp and smooth the voice acting was. Well timed. And the UI itself, very fluid, no hitching. Everything kind of rolls out seamlessly, and it's just very clean, very concise, and very cohesive in that, again, you know, it's not interrupting what the ultimate focus is, which is running this tavern. So the tutorial piece doesn't take very long. You're basically getting the controls, you're getting the general gist of what's going on, and then you're very quickly thrust into, at least here in the demo, into a tavern in the swamp, where you get a little bit more information about the UI and how you'll set goals for yourself and follow a little bit of the narrative. And so I found this very interesting when they're drip feeding you. The instructions here you'll see on the screen, they start telling you about tooltips, is where you'll find a lot of the information, the contextual information, right? And they have you go through the sequence where you're just clicking on link and hovering, and I spent some time actually cutting out of the footage in kind of exploring how far that would go, and they nested it quite a bit. And so eventually you get to a part where you actually need to start running your tavern. First, what does every tavern need? It needs a tap. Right, and so you're going to install your tap. You can see a little bit of that placement interface here. You can place it wherever you want in the green. Of course, they conveniently left you a space there, and then you need to stock it with some ale. You hire your first employee. You can see they have certain skill sets. They need a certain wage, right? Some of them can be bribed. Velerani can be bribed. She is a boost to happiness when you give her a little bit of an incentive, a tip, if you will. And so, like I said earlier, we kind of get thrust into this swamp tavern. It's important to note that you will progress as your tavern becomes successful to other biomes. And so it's not like you're stuck in one biome forever. After you've hired your employee, you need to stock your shelves. So a merchant every couple of days will come in, and you'll be able to restock on different ales. Now, these ales have ratings. They have star ratings. And certain types of customers will like them more than others. I love this little piece here. You see me naming my tavern. I thought that was really cool. It comes up front and center on your screen for the duration of your ownership of this tavern. I thought that was really cool. Now, one thing I think a lot of people are going to enjoy about Tavern Keeper is this decoration aspect, all the myriad of props that you can place inside your tavern to make it more attractive to customers. You can see the little sim showing you how this is going to go and some examples of what your tavern can do here on the screen. The interface below, again, non-intrusive, but just a ton of options, guys. You have snapping options. You can even resize. You see me with this axe. I make it really huge, and then I make it small. You can place it wherever you want. It's got some automatic snap points, although you can really place it wherever you want. Very intuitive control system as well. And so after you get done setting up your tavern, you start your first day. You've got the objectives off to the right, at least here in the demo. These may be a little bit different in the release, so keep that in mind. We're told we have to build a storeroom, and so we get a little bit of tutorialization about building out a floor plan. You can see, again, very easy to do. If you mess up, you just kind of hit escape and restart. But yes, we've got to build our storeroom. We've got to hire a couple more employees. And so in the demo here, I went crazy with HR. I just hired like 4 employees right away. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the most advantageous thing to do in the actual game, but it was very easy, and I was able to eventually, which you'll see in the future, diversify the roles, which I thought was really, really cool. Can't say enough, guys. The props that you can place is just the list is almost endless. And so as you're running your tavern and you get your little loop going, you'll have the opportunity to open up more rooms. And so we weren't able to do it here in the demo, but eventually you'll be able to serve food. And so you can see the menu there. Beyond our ale, we might be able to cook things. And so you'll notice that some of your employees might excel at cooking as well. And so, like I said, you have employees, and they have happiness levels, and they have energy levels, and you're going to have to manage those. Everybody's going to need a bed to sleep. Some people aren't going to need to sleep. We had a skeleton employee that we got through one of those book quests, and it said that he doesn't need to sleep. So he spent the entire night just kind of walking around. He played a game of dice with himself on the table. At one point, I told him not to enter the bar area because he was scaring customers, so I just had him in the back room sweeping. You saw our little Yelp review there. We got an 83%. We can even gain stars. This reminded me of like the Michelin star system. But you get a rating from your customers. And so if you do well enough, you too can rise through the ranks of food critics and tavern critics as they come in and rate your wares, rate your beers. A little bit more of the movement system here. Again, I really wanted to try to show this off in the video so you guys that maybe aren't as much in the economy part of the system, this decoration aspect is just so expansive and so deep. So one of the things I really enjoyed about my time in the demo is the sim aspect of managing your employees. And so at a certain point, you'll have the opportunity to install a work schedule and a locker in your staff room. What this allows you to do is assign roles. And so once you hired your employees, you notice some of them were better servers, some of them were better janitors, some of them were generalists. They can do everything. And so at a certain point, you'll be able to assign staff roles based on these skill sets, and you'll be able to build out their daily schedule. This was cool. You can see it here on the screen. This looks very similar to, again, games like RimWorld and Dwarf Fortress and other sim games, even other Tavern Keeper sim games. I think that for those of you that are going to manage your tavern and try to really squeeze every cent out of it, this is going to be what you're going to spend your time managing beyond your amount of coin. Now, again, similar to those other games, that you can also set the speed at which you move through each day. And so if it's a lull, if you're just kind of preparing for the opening, you can slow the game down and then speed it up when you've got everything kind of running smoothly, and pause it when you have a fire to put out, so to speak. Well, speaking of fires to put out, one of the things I really enjoyed about the demo that probably won't be in the release is the end of the 3 days and the option to blow up your tavern. Again, fully narrated, fit really neatly into the demo experience. You get a big green button that says blow up your tavern. A great way to cap off the demo experience, and I think really just emblematic of what Tavern Keeper is. You know, it's probably not going to show up in the release version of the game, but it's very clear that the devs had an attention to detail, right? They really thought about the end user here. If it's not the decoration system, it's the economy system, it's the UI, it's the design mode where you can kind of forget the economy altogether and just play interior designer. They know who they're trying to reach with Tavern Keeper, and I think for those of you that want something very difficult, because there is a difficulty slider, or some of you that might just want that really cozy experience of just running a tavern, right? And decorating, and maybe you're making huge profits, maybe you're just getting by, but they really know who their user is. And so with all that being said, guys, should you play Tavern Keeper? I think you should. I think you should give it a shot. I think it's approachable for both somebody who's very unfamiliar with the genre or somebody who has played many games like Tavern Keeper. This is one you're gonna want to play. So thank you guys for checking out the video. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you plan on playing Tavern Keeper? And as always, guys, until next time, bye-bye.